Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back.
How can I help? About my mother? I'm unsure. I seem to find it difficult to remain objective when it comes to her. Do you think...
Okay, we heard all of this.
How may I be of a... What is it you would like... Of course...
Okay, we heard that as well.
Starmap. Even after all the thousands of years it has been here, it still has tremendous power. Can you not feel it?
The Starmap is an artifact of the dark side. The great dragon may have been drawn here by its dark power, only to be enslaved by it. Come, we should leave this place. There's nothing else for us here.
I have to give you credit. You've led me on quite a chase. But nobody gets away from Calo Nord in the end. You got lucky on Terrace. The Sith attack saved you from a quick and gruesome death. But I promise you, the Sith won't be getting in my way this time. Sorry, I'm not in this for the credits. You're the only ones who've ever gotten away from me. I've got a rep to protect. Let's go, boys. It's showtime.
What can I do? What is it?
Yes?
Nice, 2000 credits. And we got his armor.
What can I do? Yes?
Sure.
There it is. There it is, but this is not for a Jedi.
What is it?
Yes?
Yes?
I'm here.
Sure.
Yes?
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 Oh man. I need my robot.
Query. What do you wish to ask of him, Master? Protocol. This will be a very... Translation. Translation. You have been told that to be considered worthy of hearing the histories. Translation. He says the discussion is closed until you fulfill this... Translation. Translation. He is stupefied, Master. He never thought you could return with such an item. Such a thing has not been done in many years. Translation. He will allow you to meet the storyteller, but also gives a warning. If you dare to repeat the histories incorrectly, you will be killed. Translation. The storyteller will be summoned to one of the rooms here in the Enclave. He seems to think this is a great honor for you, Master. Translation. 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 He identifies himself as the storyteller, Master. He has been told of your warrior skills and will speak the history to you. Translation. Translation. There is only one accepted history, passed orally to each successive generation. Translation. A book or datapad can be taken away, cheapening the value of what it contains. To commit it to paper or storage is to remove it from the people. Translation. Translation. You may choose to hear the history, or you may choose not to. Their history is a single entity that cannot be partitioned. Translation. The only exception is in continuing the tales once they have begun. If you leave, when you return, he will continue from where he left off. Translation. Translation. It begins with the ancient times. They were not sand people, for there was no sand. The land was green with life, and they walked without wrappings. Translation. Though the land was beautiful, they lived apart from the land. They built their walls high and saw beyond the horizon. They dared to reach the stars. Translation. There are no words for how long ago this was. It was before the outsiders, before the abduction, before the cities fell, before the builders. Cautionary. I should warn you, Master, that any questioning of their interpretation may be seen as trying to change the meaning of what was said. Clarification. They may consider this to be speaking the words in error, a blasphemy they would attempt to kill you for. Obedient. I will ask whatever you wish, Master. Translation. Translation. His arrogant people touched the stars, and this sin drew the attention of the builders. The builders did not touch the stars, they lashed them to millstones. Translation. Great demons of metal stripped the world of its riches, until all that was left was the green of the ground. The great cities were lifted away. Translation. Those that had used the wealth were taken along with it. Transgressors abducted to serve past the sky, seeding the stars with penitent, adaptable slaves. Translation. Translation. There came a time when the builders were also judged for their crimes. After generations, a plague weakened them, and the time of the Great War began. Translation. The builders faltered, and his people realized why they had been punished, so that they understood the crime, and would now strike down the greater offender. Translation. They worked chaos in the machines, so they destroyed themselves. The builders fought back, laying waste to the green that had been misused with fire from above. Translation. Soil became glass, grinding to sand, but the fight was long planned, and his people were safe. Deep in cave homes carved from valley wall, they were free. Translation. Editing, if I may, Master. This section of his tale details several millennia of the Long Walk, their nomadic wanderings as they accept their identity in a desert world. Rather than strain my circuits on his dialect, might we just assume there was much fighting over who has the biggest bantha and move on to more recent things? Resignation. Very well, Master. Translation. The tribes spread far, distant from each other, but all the sand people and all cherished the land that remained. The sand would not be misused. Translation. Then machines fell from the stars again, outsiders like you that brazenly walked apart from the land. And greater still was the insult to come. Translation. These outsiders reminded them of their past transgression, of the time when they too walked apart from land. The outsiders, your kind, looked like their ancient abducted. Translation. So it is to the current sons that the Sand People hate all outsiders and give them no footing. You come again, time after time, adaptable slaves to the machine. Editing. The last 1,000 years are full of conflicts with different groups of attempted planetary settlers, all of whom are poorly described, long dead, and likely untraceable. I believe I have truncated it down to the usable bits in what was already said. I hope it is enough, Master. Cautionary. Remember my warning, Master. They... Obedient. Translation. 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 The storyteller waits for your questions, Master. Translation. Translation. The tribes spread far, distant from each other, but all the Sand People and all cherished the land that remained. The sand would not be misused. Translation. Then machines... Caution. Clarification. They appear to hate humanity with a passion only rivaled by their hatred of the builders. For some reason, you resemble what they once were. Perhaps there is a lingering fear that you are their tainted selves returning from exile among the stars. Cautionary. Master, if you mean to suggest that humanity is ancestrally linked to ancient Tatooine, you will strain his belief system to its pitiful meatbag maximum. Translation. Cautionary. As expected, he is claiming you have committed blasphemy. Warming blasters, combat is inevitable. Impatience. Master, I refuse to inconvenience you with this. He spouted names of petty tribal fights in deserts so distant they might as well be across the galaxy. Really, Master, I'm sure it's important to him, but it has nothing of value that you could ever put to use. Agreement. Of course, Master. Just no more of their inane wandering. Clarification. The occupying force suffered some sort of species-wide plague that lowered their numbers over time. His people used this extended weakness to sabotage their larger ships. The response of the builders appears to have been to lay waste to the entire surface of Tatooine. Doubting. They didn't, Master. They struck a blow, but the storyteller only believes they won because the builders were gone when they emerged from their caves. That does not mean they defeated anyone. It seems clear that the builders simply sterilized their problem and left. The enemy judged them not worthy to fight. Clarification. I may not have properly conveyed how long they fought with the builders. Given time, any number of armaments could destroy a world. Hypothesis. Perhaps this is another distortion. Their climate may have begun to fail due to their unrestrained development even before the builders arrived. Looking back thousands of years later, such a shift could easily be attributed to the much-hated conquerors. Cautionary. Master, this line of question... Hypothesis. If his people were moving away from technology for a long time under the builders, they may have had extensive cave systems that could grant shelter. I would also suggest that, given the evidence of the massive shift in the nature of their society, most of them did not survive. Cautionary. Clarification. I believe they were occupied by this technologically superior species for a substantial period. Stripping an entire planet of usable resources would have taken generations. Translation. Translation. He has no number. He claims that those that were taken were examples of the worst of his kind, arrogant and uncaring of the land. Doubtful. Master, this is just another distortion due to their demonization of the builders. It's like claiming an aspect of his people were taken, not actual individuals. Clearly, history has colored his view. Of course, only the inferior meatbags were taken. The remaining were his ancestors, after all, and must have been special. Obvious. The same reason Zerka Corporation is attempting it now. Expanding empires need tremendous amounts of resources. Caution. Clarification. It would appear that they once had a thriving technologically advanced society, but were wiped out by a much more sophisticated alien species. Negative. I am no library, but since there is no Republic record of this planet having sentient life before Zerka colonization, I doubt you will find such evidence. Translation. Translation. He only understands the builders as an iconic force meant to test the resolve of his people. He is not making sense, Master. Clarification. They claim their stories are repeated unchanged, but they have demonized these builders. In their minds, they wreaked such havoc they could not possibly be flesh and blood. Cautionary. Master, this line of questioning may be interpreted as attempting to change the story. He may react poorly. Doubting. I don't believe he can, Master. Even if their stories are exact and unchanged, it is likely they were first told thousands of years after these events occurred. This has become very much like a creation myth for his people. There is no date. It simply was. Caution. Oh. I... Clarification. They appear to hate humanity, perhaps. Translation. Translation. He says that you dare not question the accuracy of his information. The stories are learned perfectly by each successive storyteller. Translation. In fact, they aren't allowed to speak the stories aloud unless they are exact. Any error is considered a blasphemy, punishable by death. Criticism. It seems inefficient to me, Master. A score of apprentice storytellers would be slaughtered each generation. What if the elder died before completing the teachings? Translation. Translation. Apprentices are trained from birth. Very few speak the words in error. Storytellers are most often lost in battle between tribes. Translation. Any tribe that loses its storyteller is obviously unworthy of existing. They lose their connection to history and destroy themselves with infighting soon after. Translation. Translation. He only Cautionary. Translation. Cautionary as Cautionary. Translation. Cautionary. Cautionary. Translation. Cautionary.
Okay, so basically they will attack me for any single question.
protocol. This will be a very... Translation. Translation. He says you may listen to the storyteller, but if you dare to say...
이쿠쿠노 노바물리라지군 동히군 전칭 네 보보제마타 네 분나게 돌비기 따꼼주스탁 미키 그라벌 먹어 그치 론다 디호똥가 군 헝가비 원어 군배 아추다.
Okay, let's see. We got a data pad. To meet somebody on Manan.
Back already? Have you even looked for the holocron yet?
I have the holocron, Mother. I'm just not sure I want to give it to you.
And why not? Would you deny me even that?
I've never denied you anything, Mother. You may think I don't remember what it was like before I left for the Order, but I do. You were the one who pushed Father to go on one treasure hunt after the other. You loved living in wealth. You think I don't remember the fights? You were eager to send me to the Jedi even though I didn't want to go. You took Father away from me. And now this holocron is all I have of him.
Fool girl. You have a strange way of remembering things. That wasn't...
No, I don't wish to argue with you anymore, Mother. It's time we parted ways now, for both our benefit. You don't know her. My mother is notoriously deceptive when she wants something. Why should she have the holocron?
Is it too difficult to believe that I am a dying woman who simply wishes to see her husband one last time?
I find it difficult to believe anything you say, Mother. You're right. It shames me, but I find it difficult to let go of the past. I'm sorry, Mother.
I was hard on you, dear. I wasn't a very good mother to you. I know that. Your father loved you so. He wanted you to be just like him. He wanted to take you on his hunts, but I said they were too dangerous. I always tried to keep him from the dangerous ones, but he would have none of it. It was a reckless life we led. Always moving. I didn't want that for you.
So that's why you gave me to the Order?
What do your father and I have to show for all those years of hunting? Nothing. That was no life for anyone. Especially not someone as gifted as you, your father. He spent all his last years trying to pay for my treatments. That's why he went for the pearls. I begged him not to, but...
Your treatments.
I'm dying, Bastila. I did not lie about that. It's been a long time in the coming, and there's really nothing that can be done anymore. I told your father to let me go, but you know how he was. Stubborn, like you.
I'm so sorry, Mother. I don't know what to say.
Keep the holocron, Bastila. It would do me good to know you have it. This talking to you. This is what I really needed before I
know. Thank you. I'm glad we talked too.
Well now, you said you had important business, and you were never one to mince words. You there. You take care of my daughter, you hear me? That's good. I'll feel a lot better knowing there's someone to watch her.
Where are you going to go?
It doesn't matter, dear. Don't you worry about me.
Here, take these 500 credits. That's all I have. Go to Coruscant and find a doctor. I'll meet you there after what I have to do.
But I already told you there's nothing that can...
Please take it. I want to see you again when we can talk.
All right, I will. You do what you have to, Bastila. You go make your father and I proud.
I'll try. Farewell, Mother. How can I help? Yes, that brought me a lot of peace. More than I thought it would have. Thank you for urging me toward it. After all my training, I would have thought it would have been easier. Apparently, I still have much to learn. How can I help? How can I help? Why? I could not accomplish this on my own. I need the aid of others, especially one who is strong in the Force. The bond between us made you a natural choice. Besides, the events on Taris prove that the Force wanted to bring us together for this mission, and there is little left to chance when the Force is involved. Is that not enough for you? I said we were brought together for our mission, to stop Malak. I hardly think the Force would be pushing us toward a romantic involvement when the fate of the galaxy is at stake. Please try to stay focused. I doubt the Council would approve if they knew we were busy discussing our mutual attraction when we should be saving the galaxy from Malak. Mutual attraction? I never said... It's just an expression. Whatever our feelings... whatever your feelings, you have to try to ignore them. Don't let this complicate things. Finding the missing pieces of the star maps is our only hope of locating the Star Forge and defeating Malak. The Council explained all this quite clearly. I admit, there were times that I wondered if this is more than just a mission to stop Malak. There were times when I wondered if this was also a way for the Council to test my own abilities. I wondered if the Council wanted to see how I would help and guide you on our quest. I wondered if they were testing me to see if I was ready to become a Jedi Master myself. And then I realized how foolish such thoughts were. As the Council explained, sending a Master in our group would only have drawn unwanted attention from the Sith. The fate of the galaxy is at stake. The Council would not risk it merely to test me. They calculated the risks, and in the end chose the only option available. You must learn to trust in the wisdom of the Council. Your destiny will come when it's appointed time. You mustn't be so impatient. Must you be so frustrating? I admit I had a moment of foolish pride, but I'm over it. Now I am focused on my true responsibilities. I'm simply trying to help you and complete this mission, and yet you battle me at every turn. Fun? Fun? Driving me insane is your idea of a good time? You are a very odd man. Do you know that? I simply don't know how to deal with you. All I want to do is help you, but you seem determined to drive me mad. I don't know if I should be outraged that you keep joking about serious matters, or if I should be grateful that you can always lighten the mood. Come on, come, let's move on. There's much to be done. How can I help? Then I...
Hey there, what can I do for you? Look, I'm happy Grif's alive, but I'm mad at him right now. And I don't know what kind of job he's got for you, but I don't trust him. It's probably just another scam. So, is there anything else you need? Okay.
Greetings again from the offices of Zerga Corporation. Is this about bounties or something else? I see that, but do you have the all-important chieftains, Gaffy? That was what you agreed to get for us. Then I'll take those off your hands, but the real prize is still out there. I see. Well, that is a very big headache that you've removed. I'm sure there are still sand people out there, but they'll be quieter now. I think I'll give you a bonus for this. You've more than lived up to your side of the bargain. Zerga Corporation thanks you.
I've actually read somewhere that original plan for this planet was for you to team up with the Sand People and kick the Zerga Corporation's asses.
I think you'll find that the reward I've given is more than adequate for the task. No more is deserved. I'm sure. Zerga Corporation thanks you again.
Ah, just the person I was hoping to see.
Save it, Grif. I'm not talking to you. I want no part of whatever you're involved in.
Okay, sis, I see you're still mad. Fair enough. I don't think you could help me with this anyway. It's more of a job for your friend here. As you may know, tack glands can be refined to a very potent powder. It's the primary ingredient in Tarisian ale. That's what makes it so strong. Of course, now that Taris is pretty much wiped from the face of the map, Tarisian ale has become somewhat scarce and very, very valuable. Luckily, I know the secret recipe. I know this guy. He's with the Exchange. Now, if I give him a small sample of Tarisian ale, he says he can synthesize it and reproduce it in mass quantities. Problem is, I need one of those tack glands to make the first batch, and now that Taris is a smoke and ruin, the only place to find tack is on Kashyyyk. If you can get your hands on one of those tack glands, I'll make it worth your while.
Grif, are you blind? Can't you see you're talking to a Jedi? We're out here trying to save the galaxy. We can't waste time on this.
Please, you have to help me. I promised this guy from the Exchange a sample of Tarisian ale. If I don't come through for him, he's gonna break my legs. Or worse. Yeah, I knew you'd come through for me. You won't regret this. You'll see. Just don't take too long, okay? This guy from the Exchange could stop by any day. I kinda told him I already had the stuff, so if he shows up and I'm empty-handed, well, let's just say I really, really hope it doesn't come to that.
Okay, so we did all of the quests on this planet. Which means that we're gonna leave it.
Yeah, what do you want? I was one of the best youth warriors in the clan Ordo in my time. No one before me had mastered the power of our basilisk war droids as quickly as I had. Except Mandalore himself, of course. In those days, we were sweeping across the Outer Rim, destroying all who fought us. Young Mandalores would prove themselves in real combat with unknown opponents above 1,000 worlds. Each brought back stories of his achievements. I remember it well, orbiting high above a placid world, its defenses just stirring. As was tradition, I would go ahead of the first wave to find enemies in the thickest fighting. I remember sitting there in my armor, linked directly with the basilisk thrumming beneath me, my heart racing with fear of the coming battle. Every new warrior has to fear to understand how to beat it. You must know that. The doors opened in front of me, and the air was sucked out of the drop bay, scattering crystals of frozen vapor across my path. I can't describe what it feels like to look directly down at a world, falling continuously as you circle it, with barely 15 centimeters of armor plate protecting you. When the magnetic locks disengaged on my droid, I plunged out of the drop bay towards the battle that waited below. The exhilaration, the euphoria I felt as I streaked into the atmosphere, dodging self-guided projectiles and beam weapons, was unmatched. An 80-kilometer plunge through the atmosphere, dodging and weaving, the outside of my armor glowing like the sun with the heat of re-entry. And with barely 30 meters to spare, I twisted and skimmed the surface, firing at the giant beam generators that were in my path. The explosion from that sent shock waves that leveled the entire complex around it. It was the moment of my life. I'll never forget those times. But things are different now. We can't go on fighting the way we did. There are too few of us left now. But I really don't want to talk about this anymore. I trust I've satisfied your curiosity for now. Is there something else you want to know? Your choice.
Hey there, what can I do for you? I'm worried about Grif and his latest plan. I got a bad feeling about it. He doesn't know anything about brewing Teresian ale, and now he's got himself mixed up with the exchange. Sometimes Grif can be so stupid. Part of me just wants to let him get what's coming to him. Why not? He turned his back on me. He abandoned me on Terrace, so maybe I should just leave him high and dry now. Maybe a couple broken kneecaps will do him some good. Maybe that's just the kind of jolt he needs to turn his life around. Only, what if they do something worse? They might kill him. I don't want him to die. He doesn't deserve that. But I just can't keep supporting his crazy schemes. Someone has to teach him a lesson. Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm not gonna change him. Grif is gonna keep on being Grif. Maybe if we get these tat glands for him, things will work out. Or maybe he'll finally see the light and turn over a new leaf. I know it's not likely, but it's all I have to hope for.
How may I be of assistance to you, Padawan? What is it you would like to speak to me about? I have been thinking much about our journey, and I am grateful and honored that you have accepted me with you. I am not used to such unbiased acceptance from one who is nearly a stranger to me. We KOTOR do not make friends easily, or for long. Even on Tatooine I remained alone. Not ostracized exactly, but separate. In truth, I have lived in the Republic too long, and I know little. I never met any others of my race other than my parents. But we are not diplomats. We do not deal well with groups. This situation is new to me. It is warming. I feel almost welcome. Needed. You seem to be very decisive when it is required of you. It is reassuring to know that I can count on someone like you. To be accepted so readily, I find it difficult to explain. It is so different from what I'm used to. Just thank you for accepting me. How may I be of assistance? What is it you would like? Of course.
Yes, what's on your mind? I'm not very good at this. I know I owe you an apology. More than one, probably. I was just so desperate to finally face Saul directly in the battle over Terrace. And now the Jedi have us looking for these star maps. I know this mission is important, it's just, I feel a bit useless. I mean, I can fight, sure, but I'm no Jedi. All this feels completely out of my league. It doesn't, I know. It's been a while since I've even had to think about that sort of thing. I just hate not knowing what's going on and feeling this helpless. But I shouldn't have taken that out on you. I've been a royal pain in the backside, haven't I? No, I do worry about it. I've traveled the lanes more than once. I should know better than this. So, I'm sorry. Will you accept my apology? Done. Let's get underway then, shall we, partner? Yes, what's on your mind? You got it.
How can I help? I do. I've been trying to come up with the best way to say this for some time, but I suppose I should just come out and say it. The truth is, I have come to depend on you. Not just for the sake of the mission, but for my own sake as well. I'm glad you're with us. You're teasing me. You know very well what I said. Well, yes. Surely that's not so surprising. No, I'm not. Why must you make this so difficult for me? Can't you just accept a simple compliment? I see. Is there nothing I can do to make it up to you? I would rather we were friends.
Oh, how close friends.
You know I can't feel that way about you. About any man. It isn't permitted. I am a Jedi. I must resist these temptations. But I still want to consider you a friend. We could never be anything more, though. That isn't allowed. I know my manner can be a bit taciturn. I know you must be getting sick of my lectures about the dark side and everything else. I spent all my years being hounded by my instructors, being told so often how gifted and important I was until I was sick of it. I remember when I was younger, I used to swear that I would never become as self-absorbed and stodgy as the Jedi Masters. It's ironic, really. Yes, well, there's no need for you to agree so wholeheartedly. Being controlled has kept everyone around me at an arm's length. Even those like yourself who are most in need of my understanding and compassion. Maybe it's time to change that. You deserve to know how much I respect and admire you. I had to tell you how much I care for you. As a friend, of course. Please, it's not allowed. I have to remain true to the Jedi ideal. If this is going to cause a problem, maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Well, that was not nearly so difficult as I feared. Thank you for hearing me out. I feel much better. But enough soul-searching for now. We should probably continue on with our mission. How can I help? Then I suggest we move on.
Okay, so now the next best planet is Kashyyyk, but I'm gonna go to Yavin.
Incoming fighters!
You up.
So now at this guy, I can sell things that we earned from the racing. I just need to find it. There it is, race bond. Item value 156. Oh yeah, give me all that money. Now these gloves are really good. Should I buy them? What kind of gloves do I have? Okay, I'm not gonna buy anything.
What?
I just wanted the money. Let me save. So the next good map should be Kashyyyk. But I'm gonna go on Manaan just to get one single quest. Yeah, let's do it.
Another vision. The Force is guiding us, helping us retrace the steps of Malak and his old master, leading us ever closer to the Star Forge. It is strange that anyone would have built a star map here. The entire surface of Manon is covered by nothing but vast oceans. The ocean floor is vast, and much of it is uncharted, even by the native Selkath. But how could Revan and Malak have found their way down? No doubt things will become more clear once we discover the star map's location. How can I help? Am I so transparent? I suppose I shouldn't be surprised, considering our bond. Yes, there is something I would like to ask, if you'll permit it. Don't even start with that. You're the one who asked. I wasn't even going to say anything. But now that you've brought it up, I see I shouldn't have waited as long as I have. In our time together, I've been watching you. You are a true servant of the light. You follow the tenets of the Jedi Order despite the lure of the dark side. And with so little training. For me, it has always been a constant battle. Don't you find it difficult at all? You make it seem so easy. Or is that only an illusion? And that's enough for you. If only it were as easy for me. If only the right path was always clear. I've always struggled for control over my passions. I've always been too quick to anger, too quick to get involved. My instructors constantly berated me for it. I've often dreamed that I might be able to confront Darth Malak myself. I dream I can use all this power I have to kill him and stop all the death and destruction. I just think about all the evil that the Sith have caused, and I get so furious. Yet we are told that these feelings are the path to the dark side. I don't know. Would the power I use to kill Darth Malak be too tempting to keep using? Would I become the kind of evil I want to destroy? The very thought that I could become as evil as Malak, I just can't fathom it. It just doesn't seem possible. I mean, how could I... No. Wait, I'm sorry. I shouldn't even be asking you this. The Jedi teachings are clear. Who am I to question them? And even worse, who am I to try and make you question them? These are dangerous thoughts. The indulgence of a vain mind. Please, forget I ever mentioned this. Let's just return to our mission. How can I help?
Yes, what's on your mind? I already told you, he betrayed us all. Well, there is more to it. I'm sure you don't want to hear about it. It's just that I don't talk about it very much, okay? I told you about my homeworld, Telos. 4 years ago, Saul led the Sith fleet there and demanded its surrender. The planet refused, and Saul proceeded to devastate its entire surface. Millions died. I had a wife and a son on Telos. I thought they would be safe there, but my task force arrived too late to be of much help. We didn't have enough medical supplies. The colony was burning and the dying were everywhere. I remember holding my wife and screaming for the medics, but they didn't come in time. Of course not, how could you? I had nothing left after that, really. I devoted myself to the fleet. Hunting Saul was my only purpose. I miss them, and I know killing Saul won't bring them back. And it won't make me happy again, but I have to do it. I don't expect you to understand, but I have to pay him back for what he's done. I have to. It's all I have left. Oh, it's all right, I don't mind. You deserve some kind of, explanation. His name was Dustil, and I don't know what happened to him. The colony was a complete ruin, and we never found any trace of him. I made inquiries and followed the reports from Telos for years, but I stopped. Anyway, I hope that answers your questions. Let's continue with what we were doing.
Yeah, what do you want? You want another war story, huh? You want to hear about some other world getting wasted, eh? I knew you were the type. Your stagnant republic has never seen some of the strange creatures and races we fought on the Outer Rim in those years. And you never will now. If a world isn't strong enough to defend itself, it's basically forfeit. But this story is about something a little different. We were going through the asteroid fields of the Crispin system at the very edge of the galaxy, playing with the pirates and smugglers we found there. The main belt in the Crispin system consists of mainly small rocks covered in frozen methane gas shells, and the pirates were using them for cover. Ha! I remember using a thermal generator to cause the outer layer of one of the asteroids to vaporize in a picosecond. It blew out and shredded the 3 smugglers using it for cover. But that was a mistake. The asteroid I had targeted was smaller than most, maybe a dozen meters on a side. On the outside, it looked the same as any other, just a ball covered in frozen gas. But something must have been inside it, something inactive in the cold. The heat of my blast might have triggered something or woken something up. After I'd hit it, spots of light and heat appeared all over the thin shell, still covering it, evaporating the gases. What lay underneath looked like some sort of rocky growth. A deformed rock, pitted by scores of micrometeorite scars. I think something even older might have been inside that. Maybe, but maybe not. It started rotating faster and faster as we watched it. After a second, it started spraying fire, thermal projectiles that melted our armor like wax. We were caught completely by surprise. Before we could counterattack, it fled at an incredible speed. We couldn't catch it, but we could follow its hyperspace wake. We followed its trail as far as we could, heading away from the galactic core. When it finally led beyond the edge of our galaxy, we abandoned our efforts. Anything that wants to commit suicide in that great void is not worth our trouble trying to catch. That's the only story I have for now. I'll tell you some more stuff later if we get the chance. Is there something else you want to know? Your choice.
Hey there, what can... Maybe if we get these tat glands for him, things will work out. Or maybe he'll finally see the light and turn over a new leaf. I know it's not likely, but it's all I have to hope for.
And we will continue this in the next episode. So if you liked this one, give it a like, dislike if you think it sucked, and until then, may the Force be with you.